Yes, people, welcome back to the Fourever Arsenal podcast. Usually I say hope you're well, but we know what it is. Big up Jordan, big up James, big up Lee. It's the morning after, the night before, and the night before wasn't like the night before a couple of weeks ago, nor the night before last week at the Bernabeu, or the week before that. Don't even remember when it was now. We've lost 1-0, people, PSG at the Emirates. Bit of a joke, I'll be honest, but we're here to talk. Leave us your thoughts in the comment section below. We all went. Well, I was about to say we all went to the game. Me, James, and Lee were at the game. Jordan was obviously at Box Park, done his thing for AFTV. I don't even know where to start because we know how this one goes. But Jordan, go ahead. You don't even need to put your hand up today.
Can I start by asking you three a question because you three were there?
Go on.
We'll get to the game and the manager, and there's lots to say, of course.
If you mentioned that TIFO or whatever they fucking call that
Well,
thing that they fucking pulled
I was going to mention the fact that we obviously, as you know, on the stream we can't hear the audio, right? So we can't. It's muted. But even not hearing the audio, it looked like the fans. I'm just going to say it, kind of bottled it as well. Really loud before the game, kickoff really loud. Couple of minutes after kickoff, goal went in. We weren't on it. Is that fair? Because it didn't look like the fans did their bit. We're going to bash the team, and the team will get theirs. But just because you three were there, is that fair, or am I being unfair?
You know what? It's fair, right? What you're saying is fair, but there's too much emphasis on this, right?
Sure.
Thank you.
There's too much emphasis on this because even Mikel Arteta mentioning it in fucking press conferences every single time he can, saying wear your shin pads and boots and all that. No, fucking put the work in on the pitch. Stop asking. 4 minutes in, 43 minutes in, 72 minutes in. Do something. Do something. So
this is the point.
Great, but ballots play a part in that, Jordan, and that's their fucking choice. Ashburton Army, a lot of them don't like me. Some of them like AFT. Who gives a shit? What they've done over the last few years has been a credit to the Emirates atmosphere. I look over at their section this time round. There's about 22 of them. 22. But last year against Bournemouth or Southampton, I'm seeing hundreds. Why? How's that changed? Arsenal don't want that. They don't want that intimidating atmosphere. God forbid the kids don't want to come, and the people that are not used to that smoke. Oh my God, they don't want none of that shit. And then they say no to the TIFO suggestion from the fans who accumulated money towards it. No, we've got something. You got what? A fucking big red flag with a cannon on it that you didn't even hang properly. From there, I just said, fuck, get this match started. Get this match started. Because this fucking thing here, joke. And this is coming from someone who ripped Real Madrid's version. Real Madrid's version shat on us. So yes, Jordan, the fans weren't great. Trust me, they weren't great.
And I asked a question before, Jay. I asked a question to someone that actually does think the team are meant to get the fans going. I know people say, no, the fans get the team going. I personally think we're paying to go to be entertained. It's on you guys to give us something to kind of get going to a degree. So I'm not saying I'm on the side of the fans that think the emphasis on the team, but I'm just saying it looked flat. It looked really, really flat. But I take your point.
I'm not. I think there's a lot of anger in this pod, and rightly so. I'm not as wound up about yesterday as other people. Will go into it, but I was really wound up at full time reading the amount of tweets I did about the Emirates being flat and the crowd not being great. I was a bit like, what? I don't really know what more the crowd could have done, if I'm being really honest. Look, I'm not a match goer every week like Lee. Turkish goes a lot more than me. Jordan, I know you've been a lot, but I saw the crowd cheer everything they could. There wasn't a lot to cheer. I think they booed everything they could in terms of, trying to intimidate PSG in some way. I think they got on top of the ref. I think they did their thing before the game. But you're right. Ultimately, a performance has to drive that too. People were saying the Real Madrid atmosphere was way better. Of course it was. We were all over Real Madrid. We were all over them chance after chance, and we scored 3 unbelievable goals. Ultimately, circumstances on a pitch are going to dictate how a crowd react. Now, I'm not saying the Emirates couldn't have been better. Of course, maybe it could have. Like I said, I don't go every week. But I just think there was so much emphasis on, you know, the crowd weren't this crowd. Look at that tifo, man. That was so disappointing. And then, you know, ultimately you go 1-0 down after 4 minutes, and then you're watching PSG ping the ball around our midfield. Pass, 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 pass. I was sat there going, we can't get near them. So that was one narrative that came out.
When did you realize that?
What, a minute in?
7 minutes in, 8 minutes in?
Yeah,
Is Arteta still working it out? Because he done
Yeah.
fucking nothing to change it. And 3 minutes in, James, the crowd were nullified. Because before the goal even came, they took the front foot. They was passing it around, you know, the midfield bopped. So even before the goal, which was 3.5 minutes, I looked at him and thought, fuck, you know, they've come here very confident. What are we going to do about it? What we're going to do is open up like the Red fucking Sea, and here you go.
Well, I'll let you guys go from here, because like I said, I feel slightly differently about the game, but on the crowd, and I don't know if Lee, you want to say something about the crowd too, but I just think it's very.
This all blame everything.
I just think it's so easy to do that, isn't it? Oh, the atmosphere was flat. It's like, well, sorry, I don't.
I just want to be clear. I'm not blaming you.
I know you're
There's
not.
a saying in football, lad. There's a saying in football. It's been there all the time that I've been playing football. I've been around football. If you're the away side, what's one of the first things the manager says to you? Silence the crowd. It's been going on for fucking years. What team comes in and silence the crowd? That's exactly what they did. So credit to them for that, right? That crowd was up for it, like unbelievably before the game. The atmosphere. Me and James bumped into each other before the game. I've not seen an atmosphere like it. We was right up for it. I watched the game. Like after 1 minute, I thought I was in Paris.
Yep.
They totally dominated the first 5 minutes of the game. Even that time they scored and all that. Like we did not get a kick. We should have started that game on the front foot, but we didn't. We was too cautious. And I'm sorry. You can go on about the fact I've had some fans go, "Oh, weren't Paris Saint-Germain fans fantastic? You could hear them all night." You fucking wouldn't hear them if they was up in the fucking gods where they should be with a load of netting around them. Until Arsenal sort that out, we have got no chance of winning the Champions League because the atmosphere was nullified by them fuckers, right? Oh, weren't they great and all that, like, yeah? When I we went to Real Madrid the other week and we was fantastic. You could hardly hear us. Why? Because we are up right out of the way, netting over us, and it's not the same. But here they come, right by the front, no netting, can do what they want. You can hear them all night. And yeah, you did hear them all night. But we shouldn't do. So keep getting on at the fans, having a go at the fans and all that. And I tell you what, and I'm not having it. We went 1-0 down after 3 minutes and we got behind that team. Right from that. It was probably like after 50, 60 minutes when every fan around me is saying, we're getting overrun in midfield or we're going to change it. And nothing happened. I think a lot of Arsenal fans lost heart. But I'm not having it after 3 minutes. We was cheering that team on when we went 1-0, 3-0, 1-0 down after 3 minutes. It kicked us in the balls big time. But no, I'm not having it. And I'm not having us being criticised every time things go wrong on the pitch. It's all the fans' fault. Last time we come to Real Madrid, red and white all around the whole stadium. It was magnificent. Right. The one before that, we had the light flash all around that. Magnificent. Yesterday, we had a flag. I don't care. The fans are still up for it before the kickoff. It's not because we put up a flag that don't fucking fly properly that we don't perform. That is down on the fucking manager and the players. And the reason it is because, again, and we'll go into it now, but I'm not having it that us fans get blamed for that. Not having it.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up, Jordan. And I know you weren't. You were just asking the question because I know on Box Park how it is, you can't hear it. But I saw a lot of conversation around it, and it really annoyed me because I just thought, I don't know what world you guys live in. That, you know, I'm going to sort of be standing there, sort of doing this for 90 minutes while PSG pass the ball around. But I think the fans personally tried to do what they can, but it's got to be driven by the players. And I know the messaging was kick every ball with us and do this, blah, blah. And I understand it, but you react to what you see on the pitch. That's always been what it is. I think Arsenal fans clapped every good passage of play they could. I think every drive from Rice and Lewis Skelly, it got us off our feet. I think we you know, we were there for everything we could. Arsenal just weren't really at the races. It was difficult. But there we go. Anyway,
James,
that's my
just
thought.
one more point I want to make on it, and it's me, and this is why it gets me a little bit, right? The Emirates, right, has been fantastic over the last few years, and it's outside influences. Wayne Rooney, you fat prick, right, turning around and saying like it ain't good enough. It's a dig at Arsenal. It's a dig, an absolute dig at Arsenal, because we've got something special. So they want to knock it. They want to knock it. Outsiders want to knock it. And our own fans are starting to knock it. Don't get sucked into it. You know what I mean? Like, they want to make sure it's a dig at Arsenal, criticism. The Arsenal atmosphere isn't as good as it goes because of one game and all that. Like, I'm not having it. I'm not having it. And I've got people coming up to me, oh, Wayne Rooney's right about what he said last night and all that. Is he fuck? Shouldn't even be in the fucking stadium at the end of the day, like, you know. I'm sorry. Don't fucking criticise something.
Lee, what did he say?
Special.
What did he say, Lee?
He turned around and said, oh, the Arsenal fans let down the club.
Oh, okay.
After 3 minutes, they went a goal down and they weren't there for him. Yes, we was. I'm not having it. I'm not having it listening to crap like that. You know what I mean? Like, you just want to have a little dig at Arsenal because we've got something special with the Emirates, right? And I don't know. I walked around, talk about the Ashburton Army if you want. Like, there's certain things about that I'm not getting involved with. Whether they like me or not, I don't care. They've been fantastic. Their walk up to the stadium last night was unreal. There must have been 1,000 people walking along that, maybe even more. Where they go back, they must go back to the pub and that. Big admiration for people like that, because they're not to walk and get involved like that and then have to go back to the pub and watch it. Right, okay, that's how it is. You know what I mean? But big play up to them and all that, like. And they took that energy. Everybody took that energy into the stadium. I'm sorry, they did.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
On to the game.
Yeah, I think it's still really very relevant to talk about because it is a joke. I didn't even hear Rooney say that.
Can I go first? I'm fuming.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm going to sit back and let you guys take it away.
I am absolutely fuming. I am so disappointed about that, right? I'm so disappointed. I feel let down. The game, the pressure was on us yesterday, and the manager, and again they have failed. They did not turn up yesterday, like, you know, they did not turn up, and that's 3 times now. Manchester United in the cup, Newcastle in the League Cup semi-final, and yesterday all at home, big games, and failed. And because why pressure's on and all that, like, you know. Now listen, I said it before the game, and I'm going to say it again. It's not me saying here I got it right and all that. I said worried about the midfield, worrying about it getting overdone and getting overrun in there, like, you know. And it's exactly what happened. £12 million he's on, right, and he does not know that or didn't think that it could happen. I give him a pass, as I said to Robbie yesterday, that he went with that team. I understand why he went with that team, but it was not working. I'm sitting there, and he could have changed that, but it was all about hope. I hope we can get over this, and we can hope we never won the ball high up in the field. One reason, because Declan Rice is not there. I'm sorry, like, you know, he had to change it, and people are going, oh, well, Lewis Skelly has never played in there before. He plays in there every single week from a different position. Put him in there and put a fullback on there. Fullbacks were fantastic, right? And we've got a midfield. We've got our fullback going into midfield to try and cope with it, and their wingers had a field day over there, like, you know. And I'm sorry. The pressure was on that game, on the players and the manager, and they failed. Against Real Madrid, we weren't expected to win that game. It was just turn up and to have a great time and everything like that. And the players, to be fair, done a fantastic job. But there weren't no expectations. I expected us to win yesterday. We needed to win yesterday. It was a massive game, and I feel absolutely let down by that team again. And the manager, I'm sorry, he got everything wrong yesterday. And I don't care. When he gets things right, I'll call it out and say, well done. We have done against Real Madrid. Fantastic how he managed those 2 games. It mattered yesterday in the semi-final, and he fouled. And people keep now, I've had people turning around to me, get rid of him, get rid of him. I'm not saying get rid of him, but I'm telling you that now. It's another game when he's fouled, when the pressure's on. And the tactics yesterday were a shambles, absolute shambles. One player out of the team, and everybody now. By the way, we're winning in Paris, 3-4-0 because Thomas Partey's coming back. We may well do, but you had the opportunity to do something there. Like, all right, change it. And I'm sorry. I'm going to have to bring him up, Martin Ødegaard. You know, your whole midfield's been taken out by the manager. You're the only one in there. Step up. I see what you said yesterday, Turkish, you know, captain and a creator. He done none of it. He ran around. He worked hard. But at the end of the day, that ain't acceptable. That ain't acceptable. And that performance yesterday from certain players, like, I'm sorry, some big players I thought were poor yesterday. Yep. Poor. I'm just I feel like the team has got me to here and then just, it don't matter. Takes down. Pay a lot of money, right? Pay a lot of money to watch Arsenal at that stadium, right? And I keep seeing them, not just on this semi-final, mostly a lot of big games, them failing to produce and turn up. The consistency of conceding goals all the time is there. Dembele, in the first 3 minutes, he's picked up the ball in the final third. There's no one near him. He has run. Go and watch it. Go and watch it. He has 20 yards of space all around him 3 minutes into the game. Now, that has happened on many occasions at the Emirates, and many a times we've got away with it. Didn't get away with it yesterday because the ball out wide and then the pass and finish is fantastic. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like, manager yesterday, I'm sorry. I can't say it like, you know, we said it. Turkish has said it. People are going, oh, what would you put in there? We said that midfield, Thomas Partey being out, big worry for me. I said it all. I can't believe that he done it. It's fair enough, but for not to change it is even worse, boys. Even worse. Feel so let down.
And we, you know, I never thought we saw enough of it to think that we're going to play that after Lewis Skelly came on against, was it Ipswich for 20 minutes in the sixth position when Zinni was 8. It was maybe a look into that, but the fact we go a goal down so early and don't change it up. That's why I asked James, when did you realize they're bopping it around us? Within 10 minutes, we all realized that this is probably, in terms of the opening 10 minutes, the best team we've come up against this season. Yeah. Because I asked the question before, is the question, how do we stop them? Or is the question, how do they get through us? To be honest.
Are they the best team, Circus? Are they the best team that you've seen? I'm not having it.
This season,
they was allowed to be the best team, like, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day.
That's something we've done. That's something
sorry, just got to say this. Just look how many times Thomas Partey has been out of this midfield and how many times we've won. How many times have we dropped points with him not being in the midfield? Right? I think it's one time we've won, and that was of all those games. So you know that it's a big, big thing you've got to do and solve. And he's not solved it.
And it's not through a want of trying. Lokonga, Havertz, Marino, all position, 8s coming into the club. I think the plan was always Rice is meant to go back to the 6, and one of these new 8s accommodate the 8 position when Partey's contract eventually finishes. But like I said, after last night, Partey can call up and say, I want 3 years. And the club shouldn't really deny it because his importance has gone up tenfold, and we've failed to adequately, not necessarily replace him because he's a quality player, but adequately be able to have a plan B without him there. And this is coming to the last month of his contract, and we still don't seem to have it. And it's been a problem.
He don't get a free role, by the way.
No,
he doesn't get a free role in this, like, because it was his stupidity has put us in this position.
Of course,
we'd won that game, right, over in Madrid. We'd won it. The manager trusted him to see it out. You know, he's experienced enough at 31 years of age to see that out. When the game's won, for him to do what he'd done cost us big time. So I'm not happy with him neither.
Yeah. No, nor am I. But the fact is, we saw how much we missed him, and that's partly down to the squad building. Dare I bring it back to transfer windows? Dare I say one of the market opportunities in January was having his way with Timber? Probably the best 30 minutes I've seen from a winger against Timber in that first half all season. I'm not going to say Timber was struggling, but Kvara was getting at him. That was a market opportunity. Remember market opportunity? Remember? What? How come they could do that when they've also got Barcola coming off the bench and they've got Ramos, a striker, coming off the bench, but we couldn't do that? We need internal solutions. Okay. Where are the internal solutions then? Because the only internal solution I've seen is Havertz has gone out and Marino's come in, like for like, because we never found a solution for Saka being out. He just returned. Let's not forget that. But the internal solution for Havertz is Marino steps up top and does his thing. Okay. What about a plan B? I've been screaming against Everton, Leicester, Brentford, Palace, West Ham. Do something a bit different. So we, if we go a goal down against Real, we can switch to that. We didn't go a goal down. Happy days, beautiful. 180 minutes, perfect, right? Perfect. But we didn't see the other side of the coin. What happens if we go a goal down and we have to do something different because our plan A is not working? Now, bear in mind, our plan A has been pretty consistent. It can be 99% consistency rate. You have to have a fucking plan B. You have to have a plan B at this level. How can you watch that game for 89.5 minutes and then bring on Nwaneri, the guy that you've left on the bench for the last 2-3 league games? What about Sterling? Why did you start Sterling? Why? Why? Someone answer that question. Why has Sterling been starting our last couple of games? Why? Someone give me an answer. There ain't no fucking answer to it. It doesn't make no sense. So bring your shirts and shin pads and all of that nonsense. What are you doing? What are you actually doing? Odegaard was a disgrace on that pitch. Take him off 60 minutes, 55 minutes, 65 minutes in. Do something different. They were comfy. In the second half, they should have made it 4-0. If it wasn't for a last-ditch Saliba tackle in at the 60th minute, that was 2-0. Barcola scuffing it wide, one-on-one. 2 minutes later, Hakimi is one-on-one. Smashes it against the bar because he's there thinking, fuck, am I one-on-one and onside? Fuck it, let me have a go. Off the bar. That was 3 gilt-edged chances for them in the second half at home when we're meant to be chasing the game. He done nothing. He done absolutely nothing. And I praised for the Real performances. I couldn't believe it. But that was not managing on the side of that pitch yesterday. We didn't manage going into this game over the last 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2 weeks, whatever it is. Find a plan B. Don't just say internal solutions. And we come to this point and it's, we know what the deficiencies are. Our attack, we don't have enough options. No shit, Sherlock. We didn't have enough options going into January. But it's not about that. We've moved on. We had the Real performances. We've still managed to get where we're at. Okay, we are where we're at. Champions League semi-final. We ain't scored in our last 6 semi-finals. We ain't scored a goal in our last 6 semi-finals. Dating back to Villarreal, 0-0. And against Villarreal, we had 3 of the starting 4 attackers on that pitch. 3 years ago, 4 years, what is it, 3.5, whatever it is. So what the fuck's going on? Martinelli, it's all good and well, slotting it in 5-1 in the Bernabeu. The pressure's off, free as a bird. Slot it in, celebrate, beautiful days. But when it's 1-0, a minute to go before half-time, and you're through on goal, I would have saved that. Because everyone knew what he's going to do. Donnarumma gets a hand to it, a hand. If it's a good shot, it's fingertips wide. A full hand on that shot. No 3-4 games ain't going to trick me. No 3-4 games ain't going to trick me. And the whole Trossard thing, he played no fucking... I don't know what Arteta was on, honestly. I haven't watched his press conference. I don't know what he was...
He got it all wrong.
I don't know what he was thinking.
People have got to admit it. People have got to admit it, that he got it all wrong. We all said about the Trossard thing. I know James has been saying play Trossard up there, but he didn't in this game. He actually said, well, I think we should go with Marino. The front three was superb against Real Madrid. You do it again. Trossard, I thought, was our best out of the front three. I thought he worked hard and everything like that. But 2 lightweight up there. You know, didn't win no headers. Marino was winning headers and he was causing problems. What you know what I mean? And yesterday I thought he'd done okay in midfield, but okay weren't good enough. He's been doing fantastic up front. Took him out of there, like, you know.
He's too immobile, man. Marino in midfield is way too immobile, and he was exposed yesterday. It's not his fault.
But we knew he was going to be. We all said it. And everybody, like, you get people going around and go, oh, you think you know more than the manager. No, we don't think we know more than the manager. Like, you know, of course he knows more than me, but surely someone see that yesterday was going to get overrun. We all said that was going to get overrun in midfield. I'm sorry, you can't keep making excuses. That was shocking yesterday, what he done. The team selection wasn't right, but change it. A couple of my mates who are big Arteta fans and all that were going like, you know, is he taking the mick like by bringing Wanyeri on in the last couple of minutes? You know, 5 minutes. He come on in the 89th minute of a semi-final. You know, you have a look at their manager. He's making substitutions all the way through the game to how it was going and everything like that.
Attacking substitutions as well at the Emirates. Barcola and Ramos both come on around Ben White coming on.
They're looking at it as an opportunity lost. They will. They will be. They're back in France now going, we could have lost this we could have been. They could have done what they could have been like us. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But they ain't. So that's the positive. That's the positive.
And you know, you started the show by, you know, an old saying, Lee. There is an old saying about something to do with the captain is a reflection of the manager and the side or something. I don't know if Roy Keane once said it or someone once said it, maybe even Tony Adams. You see Saka in that first half, not getting any luck. He floats out to the left instead, beats two players, gets a ball in the box. Martinelli should score. Okay, you're not finding luck, but you changed it up and you done something. Lewis Skelly drove through midfield. Beautiful little ball in behind. Martinelli one-on-one. Rice done it in the second half. Bit of space, run into. Trossard out wide. Go on, have a goal. Good shot. Donnarumma made a save. Lewis Skelly, Rice, Saka. Not having the greatest of games, but they're picking their moments to, you know, if there's an opportunity there, they'll go for it. Odegaard, not once, as captain or creative outlet, not once. He's made me sick now. He's made me sick. Because that performance, it's not just that. It's everything that's come with it this season and then that performance. And he's one of the people, come on, shut up. Shut up. If he's injured, don't play him. If he's injured, don't play him. That's what
Lewis Skelly was brilliant yesterday.
Of course he
Skelly was brilliant in there yesterday. Absolutely fantastic in there. Like, you know what I mean? So
you know why
why isn't he put him in there? Why doesn't he put him in there? What can someone please give me something to say why that wasn't thought of? Like, Robbie's like taking the piss out of me last night, going like, you know, we've never seen him play. I see him playing there every week because he goes in there. I just don't know why you know that he can do the job. Why didn't he do it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know,
I don't know if Mikel doesn't want to seem naive or something. I don't know if he doesn't want to come across naive or a bit devoid of ideas, but that's exactly what he came across like, having not done anything. That's, you know, sometimes you're thinking, should I do that? Should I do that? And you're dithering about it so much that in the end you do nothing. And that's the worst thing you can do, is nothing. That's what he done. And in 89.5 minutes, Nwaneri. I mean, if Nwaneri had a couple more years on him, look at him like Tevez did Mancini that year. What the fuck do you want me to do coming on now? Because that's the truth. We all knew Nwaneri's not going to come on and do anything in that situation. And then Saka's up top. We saw Saka striker for 10 minutes. I've never seen, like, what the fuck was that?
I will say, like, you know, I've got to say, like, on a positive, Kivior again. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you give Arteta his credit there. Like, I know that he's come out and all that. I thought he was stand out again in the back. You know, really played very, very well.
Saliba, likewise, I think both of them.
Yeah, well, you know, I expect that from Saliba. I do really. Timber, I thought had his hands full on the game, but come out of it all right. Like, you know, but the midfield and up front was just not good enough. I know that, guys. I don't mean to be horrible when I say this, right? But we all pay a lot of money. I don't know how much you paid for your ticket yesterday, James, or your season ticket and all that. But like that game, minimum 90 quid to get into, right?
Yep.
Champions League semi-final. I see 4 players warming up, going through their paces. And I thought to myself, what's the point? None of you are coming on. I don't even know your names, right? And they're doing all the warm-up and all that, like. They're not coming on. They're just there for show. Show ponies, they were. 4 of them.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, Champions League semi-final, the money that we pay, I know we've got a few injuries. I ain't got that many injuries.
No,
I've got
Gabriel's
4.
out.
Gabriel, Havertz, and Jorginho.
And Jorginho and Partey. I mean, those 4 players not being available are pretty key.
Partey.
Listen, I've got my complaints. Arteta, I think, got a lot wrong, but you know,
it is a big one.
Keep Jesus is a 5th. You might bring off the bench. I mean, that's not ideal. Jordan, do you want to take it away, mate? I saw the game not positively, but more positively than this. So I probably should.
I'd like to hear it.
For 20 minutes, we were schooled, in my opinion. Totally schooled. And I think they looked unbelievable, PSG. I haven't seen a team come to the Emirates and do that for a while. I think by hook or by crook, Arsenal sort of fought their way through it. And I actually think 2 players set that tone. It was Lewis Skelly and Mikel Marino, I thought, from minute 25. He made a really big tackle, almost he was within the back 4. He made a big tackle and then a big block. And then he started putting his body in the way. I sort of agree with you guys. He looked a bit immobile and he looked overrun, yet he showed a lot of heart. I thought he was getting his body in the way. I thought he was just there was one, he made one block and then he got it on, and then he got his head on the end of a second pass, and it was just like he just wanted it, right? And I think that then lifted Declan Rice. And I actually think Arsenal, at no point did I feel like Arsenal started to play, but I think they started to clock that through a bit of sheer fight, we can get through him. Bukayo Saka, you're right, drifted up to the left, and just through power and a bit of skill, he drove through 3 players, whipped to the back post to Martinelli. Then Lewis Skelly said, give me the ball, I'm going to be pressed, I'm going to turn, and boom, we were through. He drove through the middle, and then Declan Rice did it again in the second half. PSG were both brilliant at times, controlled us at times too. Yet I didn't think there was a moment in that game where we couldn't score if we didn't lift our level. We just didn't. Like Arsenal lacked Partey. They lacked sort of someone to get the ball and open the game up and feed through the lines. But I just kept thinking, Arsenal, I'm so annoyed that you're not finding that level, because honestly, go up a gear. There's a goal in this for us. I also think we were 1-0 down, and deservedly so. But then by minute 65, I was thinking we could be 2-1 up here. The Trossard chance, the Martinelli chance, the whip to the back post to Martinelli, narrowly offside. But then by the 85th minute, I'm sort of thinking, well, we're lucky not to be 3-0 down. It was a really weird game. I think we got to appreciate PSG are a very good team. Very, very good. I said we win 2-1. But, you know, I wasn't sort of thinking, oh, I'm going to blow them away here. You know, they're a very good side. And I actually think listen, maybe I'm a bit delusional, guy. I think we made a bit of a game of it, just not as much as I'd have liked us to. I don't think we ever had real sustained pressure. I don't think we had those moments where it was shot after shot. It didn't feel like Donnarumma was being constantly asked questions. And that was disappointing. But I don't actually think we were bad on the night. If I'm honest, I don't think we were terrible. I think they're a very good team and we created some chances. What really frustrated me was the Tifo. I thought, oh, that was a bit disappointing. And then as we got to the last 25 minutes, I think Mikel Arteta was too slow to react. Ødegaard, and I rarely say this to them, I think Odegaard was hiding. I really rarely say that. I think he normally goes to stand in the space where he can get the ball. I just think he was just floating behind Ruiz, Vitinha, not really kind of getting into spaces we could actually do anything. And when he did get the ball, I never saw him try beat a man. I never saw him go for a 1-2. Do you see when Waneri came came on, there was a moment where it was pinged into Trossard, and then Ranieri ran onto the second ball and he rolled it to Martinelli. Remember when he skied the shot? But that was probably the only time I saw us try and play through the heart of PSG. And that's something that Ødegaard needs to try do more of. And he didn't at all. I thought that was really poor from him. Ben White should have come on sooner, even though, again, I think Timber and Lewis Skelly, because Kvara and Doué looked busy, I think they looked like they might have lost those battles. I don't think they did. I think Lewis Skelly and Doué had a wonderful battle between them. I think both of them had their moments. I think Lewis Skelly did great. And I actually think Timber, largely, Kvaratskhelia, the only time it was kind of really effective for him was when he sort of cut it across to Dembele for the goal. But I think we should have dealt with that better in other ways. I actually think Timber and him had a good battle too. But he should have brought on White sooner to support Saka, because Saka had nothing down that right in terms of support. And I think he could have got Lewis Skelly in midfield later in the game, just to get Tierney on the overlap and give us something else. I thought Saliba and Kivior, I think they showed some personality in the game, making some big challenges at times, trying to drive with the ball into midfield just to try open the game up. I think the players were basically caught in this, like, I think they were a bit lost in that first 10 minutes where they were trying to press, but they were bopped off the pitch at times by PSG. Then they tried to get into a shape, but then they kind of lost control of the game. And eventually they wrestled it back around 25 minutes in and started to play a little bit. But I think tactically we got outdone there by Luis Enrique and PSG. I don't think Arteta quite knew how to fix it. And eventually Arsenal got a hold of the game, but it was just sort of, it wasn't enough on the day. And ultimately a lack of quality proved. My overall assessment is I don't think it's done. I think we can go to Paris and do something. I don't think we do. I think we will is another thing. But I saw enough in that 90 to think we can score against them. It's just disappointing that we didn't ask more questions of Donnarumma on the day. But
James, let me ask you.
Yeah.
Why hasn't Mikel tried to do something different? Like, ever since the league's been gone, I've said prepare for next season, because I didn't think we'll be in a Champions League semi. Prepare for next season by, in these games, home games that we should be dominating. Let's figure something new out. And then when we made the semi-final, I said, let's have a couple of these fringe players, put their names in the hat. If we need a goal against PSG in the semi, they can come on the pitch to change up. For all the good Mikel's done, right, and all the praise he gets, and all the genius tags and all of this, right, I'm sorry, 89.5 minutes, you don't do anything. And even what you did wasn't really much anyway, let's be honest. Why is he so set in his ways? And this is a manager that came in with a 4-2-3-1, changed it to a back five against Chelsea and City in the FA Cup, because, that worked. And then he was flexible again the year after. It molded into a 4-3-3, an attacking 4-3-3, because, that 20, and then it went rigid. But it's like he never like switches it back a notch or tries to. How can we play the same against Brentford, West Ham, Leicester, Palace? Like, all of these games where it's like a trial game, like, here, let's see what we can do different. He hasn't utilized it at all. And he was exposed for that against PSG, 90 minutes. And that's what frustrates me the most, because PSG are good. Enrique is a better manager than Mikel Arteta. So to be, outclassed, like, it can happen. But what do you do off the back of it? Because that is a very obvious reality. You can be outclassed by this team or this manager. So what do you do if that's happening? Why, as such a esteemed manager, didn't he use the matches he had to think of something different? Instead, he's putting in Sterling, Trossard, and doing the same fucking thing. Explain that for me. I don't understand.
Yeah, you're not going to like my answer. You're not going to like it.
I don't like what no answer either. So hit me with it.
One thing I don't have an answer for you is why he didn't try more in those other games. I completely agree. That was really disappointing. Sterling starting over Ranieri. I think we could have seen more of Lewis Skelly in midfield. I think he could have tried some different things tactically. Totally agree with you on that. I can't for the life of me understand why. But in terms of the game, and this is the answer you're not going to like, prepare to all lose your heads. I just looked at the XG. It was 1.6 Arsenal to 1.1 PSG. Now, I promise you, we talked about this before. Arteta, I believe, is a data-driven manager. I think he'll look at those numbers. I think he'll look at a lot of things in those games, and he'll go over 180 minutes. That should swing our way. And I honestly think he was watching that game yesterday going, I could bring Lewis Skelly into midfield. I could get Tierney bombing on forward. I could do, but I honestly think he's as worried about not winning this game as he is it being 2-0, 3-0 to PSG when we go to Paris. I think he's thinking, let's keep that game as sort of controlled in our hands. If we get a goal, we'll probably have a goal in us at some point over the next 90 minutes of football in Paris. We might find something. There might be a moment of magic, but let's not give up too much the other way. I really think, and I just think this has been evident in the way he's played for the last 2 years. I think he really looks at that ball will go in the back of their net at some point. Let's try and control the other things. I honestly think that's how he looks at the game. I think he thinks like it's bound to happen if we have the ball wide enough, if we've got enough penalty box touches, enough final third touches, if the field tilt goes our way. Now, I know you're all looking at me going, and people will be watching going, James, shut the fuck. And listen, this is not me justifying. I'm purely explaining. I think that's how he looks at the game. So I think he's looking at it going, if I bring on Tierney, I don't know enough about how that might go. If I put Lewis Skelly in midfield, I don't know enough about how that might go. If I put Marino up front, I've lost my dual winner in midfield. And then I don't know if we then lose control of the game. I honestly think that's how he looks at it. Do any of you agree with that? Or do you think...
I agree with what you're saying. I listen, your assessment of the game, I think was fantastic. Spot on. It was good. But we've been there before, James.
I agree. Let me not say I'm happy with it.
No. And what I say is like, and you know, about all these stats and all that, like, we've seen this time and time again, dominate play, do this and do that, and still concede goals and all that. Like, so when you turn around and go, oh, he's not sure out, or he's sure this is out, I'm not so sure on that, because it happens. One thing I will defend him on, and I will defend him on this, on two fronts. When you're playing against teams in the Premier League, to say, right, I'm going to experiment and play the same team that's going to play against PSG. You're not coming up against PSG. It's a different sort of thing. It's very, very hard to replicate that in a Premier League game. And also, you don't want to be showing your hand to other people, because all these games are being looked at and watched at as well. Like, so you want to try and keep a little bit of the unknown in there as well. Like, so I understand. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying I'm trying to defend. I can understand that, like, you know. But when I look at it, if that is the case with Mikel, then I don't want him as our manager, James, because I also think in a game of football over 90 minutes, there's times when your eyes outweigh the stats. You have to change things. And I'm pretty sure that Enrique's got all the stats as well. Every manager's got all the stats, but then they change it around a little bit, like, because something happens in a game. Man, you think, wow, he's won that game for us by changing that and changing this. And I don't think at the end of the day, that performance from him is acceptable yesterday as my manager. If that is the case, he's looking at stats and all that. Like, and listen, I think the positive is that it's only 1-0 and we've still got a chance of winning it. Do I think that we're out of it? Probably, but I still think we've got a chance.
Yeah. For all, I mean, let's have this intermission now for the people that, you know, anytime there's a bit of criticism, their insides combust and, you know, they're ill for 7 days. Let's get this in there. We've still got a chance. Yeah, we still got a chance. Take your, you know, Benadryl or your fucking Pepto-Bismol, or what you need to take, right? Because there's nothing else but you know, anger and frustration this morning. But we all still believe we can get through. I'm with Lee. What we saw, you know, against PSG, I mean, it's going to be a hell of an effort to make it, but it's only a 1-goal margin. And to be honest, we should have been 2-3 down come the end of that game, regardless of XG. I know what you're saying, James. I know we had enough chances at key moments, 1-1 before halftime, different game, 1-1 after halftime. If it's half a yard on, different game. But in the end, from 60 minutes onwards, it should have been 3-4-0 to them. So yes, we've still got a chance. So positive people, hopefully that's your medicine done. You know, wake up, get ready for the day. Yeah, click your heels and jog on, because everything's going to be all right. There's a rainbow out there coming soon. So 100% we're winning 4-1 next week, because yeah, it's, you know, that's how the world works, right? If you're positive, then shit's going to fall into place. But yeah,
can I say sorry?
You have to take, James is right. You have to take positives from it. We create, as poor as we was yesterday, I think we was poor, you know what I mean, all around. we did create some chances. We could have scored a goal, like, you know what I mean? We was unlucky with the offside. It was close, you know what I mean? There's weaknesses in PSG, like as we see with Aston Villa, and don't forget, you know, Liverpool went there and beat them 1-0, and they lost to Anfield. But at the end of the day, they're not this incredible side that have blown us away and all that, like, you know. I remember Man United coming to us and blowing us away 3-0 and we was out of it, like, you know. Look, this is a team. From all the bad stuff and all that, there's still some positives to take. The reason I got angry yesterday was because of, you know, like the way it transformed. If you look back at it on and I try to be positive and everything like that, you know, there is positives to take out of it. And the other thing is, like, you know, people go, negative supporters and all that, we're negative. Well, I'm not negative in that 90 minutes. That 90 minutes, I'm cheering on the team and everything like that. It's afterwards that I come out and then I say what I got to say. But going to the game and always during the game, I always felt that we had a chance of getting something from the game, even as poor as what we were. But when you afterwards, I think you should be allowed to say what you feel about it, like, you know. And listen, do I think that Mikel can turn it around? Yeah, I do. I still believe in it. You know, that's why I'm upset, because he's given me the belief that we could go on and win this game and the team, and I feel let down. So what? I've been let down, like, you know what I mean? Like, pick me up and get me going next week. Like, that's what football does. But I do feel let down by it. But you're right, James. There is positives.
What was you going to say, James?
Well, we're 46 minutes in and we haven't heard from Jordan. I feel a bit bad.
Jordan's enjoying. He's probably getting a fucking essay done or something. You know how he is.
Emails. He's actually just watched the first half.
What, we lost?
That's a big chance.
Yeah,
What, we lost?
We didn't come back. No, we didn't come back, mate.
Sorry to break it to you.
Oh, mate. Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to hear you guys, man. Just hear your thoughts. Just to rattle through some points. I mean, we should be out. We're not, but we should be out. The only positive of last night is that we're still in this tie. Yeah, disappointing, man. Disappointing.
What do you make of it? Because you are someone that, albeit gets a lot of heat on this pod, but you are the one that's remained most consistent with Mikel Arteta over the years in terms of always supportive, never really a doubter of his. But that 90 minutes, Jordan, that come on, man.
In a way, against Real Madrid in the first leg, he got everything right. I think he got everything wrong last night, pretty much. We can criticize the starting lineup. I mean, I said, I think some of us said I would have started Marino up top for the reasons that I think Lee said earlier on. When they start popping it around PSG, which they do very, very well, you need legs. And with no Partey, I just didn't think Marino had the legs. No, it was you, Turk, said the mobility. He hasn't got the legs to kind of keep up with that with their level of passing patterns. So I would have left him up top, and then put a Zinchenko or I wouldn't have played Lewis Skelly in midfield, but I would have played Zinchenko midfield. But I don't want to criticize starting lineups too much because they are what they are. Where I will criticize him, again, I'm with Lee 100%. The best managers in the world don't get paid a premium salary because of their starting 11. They get paid a premium salary because of what they do in the game. The best managers in world football read the game and they react to it. They see what's going on and they recognize, oh, yeah, okay, cool. I didn't think that was going to happen, but now I've seen it happen. I'm going to react to it. Now, to be fair, he's missing some of his key players. So he's limited in what he can do. But to do nothing is not acceptable. It's not acceptable. And again, I'm going to agree with you. I thought you should have brought on Ranieri earlier for Trossard. I would have put Marino back up top and put Ranieri in the... No, that does make you potentially more vulnerable in the middle because Ranieri and Odegaard, that could get quite open. But I just felt we needed a ball carrier. We weren't going to pass our way through PSG. We weren't going to pass away. They're a better passing team and they're not bad defensively as well. You needed a ball carrier, someone that could get on the ball. And when we did it, we had success. The Saka a couple of times, Lewis Skelly a couple of times. Rice, when we had guys that got on the ball and just drove through man, we actually had some success. Ranieri is a very, very good ball carrier. So I would have brought him on earlier. To bring him on so late just felt really pointless to me. I was disappointed with Declan Rice for the first goal. He's come over to cover and double up with Timber, with Kvaratskhelia. But Timber one-on-one's quite good. So I don't think you needed to come over and cover a double up on him. And he's left his man on the edge of the box and is poor. I want to talk about Odegaard as well, because all the talk is about Odegaard, and I know you feel he should maybe give up his captaincy. There's two things with that. First of all, I don't really care so much about whether he's got the armband or not, because in football, unlike other sports, team sports, the captain's role isn't really that significant, right? So whether he's got the armband or not, it's symbolic. So I don't really have a strong feeling on whether he should have the armband or not. He's been a very good captain up to this point. He's having a very, very poor season. So they got the whole captain's thing. And I remember actually when Gary Neville spoke years ago about the Euro 96 squad. And he's talked about being in that squad and talking about having, I think it was 8 club captains in the squad. Adams, Pearce, Shearer,
maybe Sol, if he was in that, I can't remember if he was
Sol,
in that.
possibly. He talked about having like so many captains in the squad. And it made me think about the fact that in football, the person with the armband isn't really that important. What do they do? In cricket, the captain's important. But in football, the captain's not that important. So what's more important is having 3 or 4.
Sorry, Jordan, that's because modern day managers like Mikel, or who Mikel have learnt of, have decreased the importance of a captain. I disagree with you, because captains are so important when I was growing up. Tony Adams and Roy Keane to me are 2 people I look at and say, you know, if I was to ask number one about them, their leadership, and they challenged the manager. Like Adams challenged Wenger the first week he came in, because he made some tactical tweak against Mönchengladbach, and we lost the game. And Adams was like, "What the fuck is this guy doing? He's not even in yet, trying to do tactic." Or Roy Keane, how many times he challenged Sir Alex? Instead, now what a captain has become is my mouthpiece, my puppet. You know, whatever I say, he's going to try, and that's a problem. Yeah. But you are right; the importance has dwindled.
It's dwindled. I mean, I'm with you, but in modern day football, you can't shout at players anymore. You can't do that. So for me, the captaincy in football is more symbolic. The bigger issue I have with Martin Ødegaard isn't about his captaincy; it's that he's not even doing the basics well. So I don't think Declan Rice played well yesterday, but Declan Rice still did a couple of things where you're like, okay, that was impressive. I don't think Saka was good yesterday, but he did a couple of things where you're like, okay, Saka did a couple. I don't think Saliba was great yesterday, but he still did a couple of things where you're like, all right, it wasn't brilliant, but there was a couple of things that he did that you could look to and be like, that was impressive. Odegaard, I can't think of one thing that he did that made me think, all right, yeah, that was a really good through ball, or yeah, won the ball back well there. His basics, his 5-yard passes, his pass selection is really bad. He's making the wrong passes all the time, hanging on to the ball, you know, giving away cheap fouls. He's scooping it when he should dink it. He's passing to Saka when it should be the flirter. That's what's more worrying to me about Martin Ødegaard, and it's been for a while. His basics. Forget chance creation. Forget that for a second. I'm talking about 5-yard passes. Those things for me over the course of the game are what really concerns me about Martin Ødegaard. People chat about, I was at the Box Park, as you mentioned last night, and oh yeah, but the injury maybe. That was November. It was November. I mean, really? We're clutching a little bit. So we got to have a long, hard think about what's happening next year now regarding Martin Ødegaard. I'm not saying we should sell him. I'm not advocating we selling, but to have a poor season, and you are our captain. I don't know. We never doubt Martin Ødegaard's endeavor, his work rate, and his commitment. Never, and I would never, because he gives it everything. But his output and quality is so poor.
Commitment.
And in a game like last night where we need him,
I'll doubt his commitment. Because there's a difference between work rate and commitment. Part of commitment is making yourself available, and he's not making himself available. And when he's on the ball, he's doing the safe thing. That to
True.
me is not committed. Now, if you can take the captaincy off Aubameyang, and I know that was a disciplinary issue, but if you can take the captaincy off him, then you can you can take the captaincy off. I'm sorry, going into next season, he should not be our captain. Full stop. He should not be our captain. We've got better candidates: Rice, Gabriel, Saka. These men stand up when needed. They stand up. We've seen it multiple times over the years.
I get what everybody's saying here, but I think that for me, I think you just got to like take a breath with Martin Ødegaard. He's a fantastic footballer. He's just out of form, and I don't.
Breathing all season, Lee. All season.
Yeah. Like the injury has lost him a little bit of a yard and all that. And sometimes, you have a pre-season, you have to do it all again. You're not quite at it for whatever reason. I'm making all the excuses under the sun for him, like, because I think he's a very, very good footballer. But ultimately, right, he is out of form temporarily. You know, what's that thing like? Temporary.
Class of permanent, form is temporary.
Yeah, he's got that. But at the end of the day, he's just out of form. And it's now down to the manager to take him out. It's as simple as that. Because he's tried to work into his form. He's tried everything. He's working hard and everything. He is just not at it. I looked at him yesterday. Every single time he got the ball, it broke down when he tried something or he played safe. Okay, it's just one of those. So take him out. You haven't got to drop him from the captaincy. If he's not playing, he's not captain. Right? That's as simple as that. He just does not deserve, on current form, to be a starter in this team. He doesn't. It's been going on for too long now. Now, this ruthlessness with Arteta is there on certain things. It's not been here with him. And I get it. He's been so good for us that you want to try and get him back into form and loyalty and everything like that. But there comes a time when you're getting paid £12 million a year on big games and your star man or one of your better players is not doing the business, you have to hold your hands up and say, I've got to leave you out. 5 minutes to go from that game, like we're needing a goal if you want to be. He's taking him off. So he's not happy with him. But it comes to a stage now where and maybe if you sat down with Arteta and go, why are you not leaving him out? I haven't got no one that can do it. Maybe there's that. But at the end of the day now, so I do think because of the lack of getting somebody in that can do that, squad that is now causing problems for Odegaard, because he should not be in the team. And if he's not in the team, he's not captain. So I don't think taking away the captaincy is a productive thing to do.
I'm with you, Lee. Sorry to cut you. I'm with you. I think what you just said there is the approach. I think I honestly don't think anyone has put the need for a creative midfield or a number 10 as high on their priority list as I have. We've done quite a lot of videos on this on AFTV, I think, Turkish, and I've had it right up there, I think, even above a left winger. Now, the reason I have it so high is A, to take the burden off Odegaard, but B, because we've got to look at his performances this season. I think Odegaard will turn it around. I think in a year's time, we'll be talking about an Odegaard that looks much more like the 22-23 and 23-24 version of him. I don't think that class goes away. I also don't think he's a player that was dependent on burst and sprint. So I don't see there being a long-term effect with his ankle. By the way, just to say this, I'm obviously no physio. I don't really buy into this whole, he can't lock his ankle when he shoots, because I've never played football to that level, but I've played football with an ankle injury that I've never been on a pitch and thought I can do everything but shoot. My ankle feels great, except for when I do this one thing. I might be wrong. That doesn't really sound right to me. You're still, using your ankle in a lot of different ways. So I don't really give him the excuse of the injury. However, I think we've got to bring in a creative player, because at the very least you're pushing Odegaard, or you've got someone in there who helps him and you get more out of him and you evolve his position. And then ultimately, if he's not at the levels next season and you're starting insert attacking midfielder with Partey and Rice, or Zubimendi and Rice, or whatever it is, then naturally that armband's being worn by someone else in the 90 anyway. And I think that's the approach. It's you add the players you need to add, and then you kind of see what happens circumstantially. I think this is the one thing we underrate about this Arsenal squad is the group and the togetherness and all this stuff that I think people think is a lot of fluff they don't care about, but it does matter. And I think to do that would be significantly disruptive. I don't think we get a net positive out of having Rice on the pitch running around with the armband going nuts, blah blah. I think we gain as much from that as we lose from the actual act of stripping it from him.
And I
everything
think
else that goes
people,
on.
and I think people like Saka, Gabriel, and Rice act like captains on the pitch anyway.
I agree. They do.
You know what I mean? So
Rice did the half time. Well, he did the team talk, didn't he? He did the huddle, right?
Yeah. So I think the captaincy, as Turkish says, I mean, back in the day it was significant. Now I just think the armband is symbolic. I don't think it's important. I want to praise the one good performance that I thought I think is worth praising. Mars Lewis Skelly again was just so good. The first, I forgot what they were now. I think one was a tackle and one was a run. The first two positive bits that I thought got the crowd up were both from him. They were both from him. The kid is just unreal.
He's unbelievable.
So good. The way he manipulates his body, the way he's become a master at getting his body in front of the ball and the man, and either getting his body in an angle whereby he can drive with the ball and not worry about the guy behind him, or worst case, get the foul. He's become a real master of that. The kid is unreal. He's
outstanding.
Unreal.
He was outstanding. The big positive.
He was the only player last night that I thought comes to the pitch with any real credit. I thought he was brilliant. I don't remember him getting beat once. Did he get beat once?
No, he didn't. This is what annoying about the narrative, that like we struggled to deal with PSG's wingers. They were very bright and they were very tricky, and you could tell we had to be super switched on. But honestly, every time that ball went out to Doué, I thought, look, Mars has him. And actually the best bit Doué did was when he went out to the left and had to cut on his right foot. And Doué was bright. I'm not saying Doué was very good.
He's a nasty piece of work.
He'd come central.
He's a nasty piece of work.
Class player. And by the way, and listen, I'm not saying we'd have beat PSG to these players or whatever, but can we start shopping around markets to find the next Barcola, the next Doué? I mean, that's another question, right? I mean, these players are out there. We don't necessarily need the next £90 million man who's ready to go. But anyway, that's a different question. But Doué was, I thought he looked really bright, looked really sharp, trickery, didn't know he was going left, right. But Lewis Skelly dealt with it. Even when Doué had a run on him, Lewis Skelly was like, I've got this. Which way are you going to go? I'm going to position myself right, and then dealt with it. He was the one who was, I thought he was unbelievable. But I put Rice in there too. I thought Rice stood up to it in the second half and started saying, my word, let me try and fight through this midfield. And then we started running through them. That's why go on.
Just on that subject, because you're right, but I got the feeling, right, when Kvara was on the ball, when Doué was on the ball, I got a feeling magic can happen.
Yeah, I agree.
We don't get that feeling from Arsenal players. The most we'll get that from is Saka, and really we're looking for a back post cross. We're looking for a cut in and a back post, because we just don't. We even don't, and maybe that's why Nanieri's not getting the minutes, because he hasn't acclimatized to the robotic ways of the new system world or whatever it is. Maybe that's why. But I just want to feel some magic. When Henry used to have the ball, I felt like he's gonna pull something out of a hat. Right now we ain't got no hat to pull anything out of, because that's left in the locker room because it's robots on the pitch. That's why. So you are right. Lewis Skelly deserves a heap of credit. Timber dealt with Kvara well enough. 100%. I still think it was his toughest challenge. But when they was on the ball, you could just feel like something can happen.
I feel that we nullified them and they nullified us, if I'll be really honest. I think that you have to give credit there. I just think that we've gone on it. We lost in the midfield. Just going on about Martin Ødegaard, quickly going back to that. I think that ankle injury is a lot worse than what was made out. I really do. And I do. No one knows what goes on. I've had an ankle injury before. We've all had ankle injuries before. Sometimes you're still playing months later. You still got, it swells up. I remember, I used to play, swells up. You have to ice it for a couple of days before it goes down. You get up in the morning, it's stiff, it's painful and all that. He's getting all the physio and all that, But I do think that injury was a lot worse than what it was.
Look, I'm going to say something here. Yeah, go on. No, because I'm going to say something. I'm not going to say where the information's come from or nothing, but I know players last year burnt themselves out. I know players last year, one in particular was Ben White, we all know about. They played through injury week in, week out to get something special done, right? And maybe Odegaard's doing that again, yeah? And maybe that's been detrimental to, the cause, my opinion now of him or whoever. Yeah, strip the cat. Why the fuck is the club and Arteta letting this happen? How can you go in light after you've run man ragged for 2 years, nearly crossing the line, and you go do it again, Lee? So if Odegaard is still injured and, he does deserve some leeway in the criticism, fair enough. Don't play him. But what will that expose? That'll expose the lack of depth behind him. And what does that do? Oh my God, the club, they don't care. They're just they're protecting themselves and by doing this to the players as well. Because I know Ben White, we'll use Ben White as an example. 100% he should have had his op earlier. But he wanted to, and the club wanted him to continue. Fine. We didn't get over the line, but it's been detrimental to us this year.
100% agree with you. But I will take you back to the day that he was playing against Norway in that game, right? Everybody was devastated when he got injured. Everybody, because we know how good he was. You know what I mean? Like, but since that injury, he has not been at the levels. That's all I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not making excuses. Maybe we should have maybe in January looked to get somebody. I think we've got to get someone in the summer to replace it. But at the end of the day, like, people are quick to jump on the bandwagon and have a go at him, and rightly so. But just when you do, just remember when you got that injury against Norway, how you felt.
But Lee, so I completely agree, and I just want to. I don't agree with stripping of the captaincy, so I backed him there, and I also think he's going to get back to his best. So I'm backing the player, and I've said all that on this pod. I just, having not done 1 minute of physiotherapy classes and learning, about the industry and all that and the mechanics of it all, I'm just not sure I understand. I'm not sure I understand what the ankle injury is affecting in terms of what I'm seeing that's so disappointing. I saw him not showing and not popping up in positions, and I don't, why is he taking free kicks then? It's little things like that. Like I'm not, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't, people saying, well, maybe his shooting's not right because he can't lock his ankle, but I'm like,
that's crap.
Listen, but he could put his foot through a ball and ping a pass. There's not a lot of difference in technique when you're pinging a pass 50 yards to when you're trying to. Yes, there are different, but I don't really understand why. If your ankle hurts, your ankle hurts. I don't know. Maybe I'm being really naive. Maybe
what it is, it's not about the ankle injury. It's maybe he's had that. Like, what happens is you don't train as much as what you do. You're having to nurse it, whatever, blah blah blah. And do you know what goes more than anything? Your confidence in your ability just goes a little bit like, I think that is where the problem lies. You know what I mean? Like, you sort of then, I can't be doing the same things that you're doing, and you start questioning yourself on the pitch not to do this and that, and you try and go safe and it don't work and all that. It's all of those sort of things. What I'm saying is that it's from the injury, and people go, oh, it's 6 months ago and whatever. It's a build up along those lines. Like, like for instance, you might for 2 days you can be working on this, working on that. He's having to have physio. We don't know, you know what I mean, like on the ankle for a day or whatever. I'm not making excuses for it, like, I'm not. I'm just sort of trying to put it out there that injury is something that, and confidence. But confidence is a big thing.
I know, I get you. I just think if that's the case, the club then, like Turkish had said, have left themselves and these players in a really disappointing position. I think Timber again had a good game yesterday. I don't think he was as good against Real as he was against Real Madrid. I thought he was good, but oh God, I hope the amount of minutes he's playing doesn't come back to bite him. And we had a big old debate on the last pod about managing the squad and managing minutes, and how it might have led to certain injuries. So I still think that remains a problem with this current Arsenal squad.
But I didn't know what happens. He looked like he was going to come off about 10-15 minutes before
he pulled something. It looked like he pulled something.
Yeah, he carried on for another 10-15 minutes. You know what I mean?
He does that a lot. I will say that. He goes down a lot, which I think I don't blame him.
I don't really know what happened. It was something incident. It was on the far side it happened. It looked like he was going to come off. Because I don't know if you noticed, Ben White was all stripped to come on, and then he didn't.
One thing that's coming to my mind that I didn't mention and no one's mentioned, maybe it's just I feel like I need to mention it. Maybe there's some tired legs out there, because James just reminded me about the lack of rotation. Maybe there is some tired legs because they're playing, they're playing every fucking game. Not only that, they're playing night. I suggested Partey should have come off earlier against Real. That would have protected the yellow card. Still his fault. But what about Rice starting the Premier League games every single week? Or the full defensive line? Or
Rice can't
everyone.
play Saturday.
You say that.
I'll be furious if he does.
Yeah, watch.
I'll be
it doesn't
furious.
make sense. It doesn't make sense. So tired legs could have been part of the reason out there, because I haven't seen a team start that good against us and in midfield beat us the way they did.
Turkish, tired legs, tired minds. We were on the last pod talking about Liverpool and Slot and everything they did. Yeah. And one of the points we made was that Slot simplified it. Mo Salah's come out and said he's had his basically defensive duties removed. And I know Lee I watched that pod back. He made a really good point about the age, and maybe that is a part of why he's not asked to do as much. But also, it's about keeping this fresh. And it's about keeping his legs fresh too. It's about keeping him focused on things he does best. Now, I think we're tired physically because Mikel Arteta, name your position on the pitch. Any position. Honestly, this is a little experiment. Name me any position on the pitch.
Number 10.
Right, number 10. Martin Ødegaard has to set the press. So he's got to run and press. He is setting the press everywhere he goes. He's running the front two. And then we win back the ball. You've got to drift all the way out wide. You've got to drift all the way out wide because we need either White and Timber to invert or Saka to invert. Or you've got to drop into the pockets. And guess what? If you're not getting in the pockets, actually, you need to drop next to Rice and receive it and build up. I've just listed 4 or 5 roles the guy has to do. Name me another position.
Dare I say left wing.
Left wing. Well, thank you. I'm so glad you brought up the wingers. Martinez's got to be high and wide. He's got the highest. Look at every average positions map. Saka and Martinez often the highest up the pitch because they're our outlet. So you are our creative outlet when the ball goes out wide because that's where we pump the ball to more. You've also got to be the finisher in the box in case it's gone wide to the other player. You've got to be in the box who makes something happen. Then we lose it. God forbid you don't track back. You've got to run all the way back. You've got to play as a wing back. You're either covering and helping Lewis Skelly, or you're tracking on the inside when Hakimi's making those runs all the time. So that's another 4 or 5 roles I've given Martinelli there. So they're physically shattered. I think they're mentally shattered too. I haven't seen, and we went from an era where I went, these guys don't run, to now I feel for the player. I've never seen so much. It's such a task overload. I think that's a major problem. I think one thing Arteta's got to be able to do next season is go, 12th at home, is it? We can play in second gear and win 3-0. I don't need you rushing all over the pitch and dying for the badge. It's a 3 p.m. kickoff against 12th. My God, keep it simple. I think that is 100% has to be an evolution of this team because the demands on these players, I don't see another team do anything like it. And when it works against Madrid, my word, we praise it. But sometimes certain games like the Bernabeu, you need it. But we don't need it week in, week out against certain clubs. Come on.
Remember,
you've got to be better than that.
Do you not remember? Yeah, do you not remember Saka's first big cheer in the first? I want to see if you don't remember. Do you remember the first big moment Saka had in the first half that received a big cheer?
Let me actually think about this. No, go on. What was it?
When he tackled Doué running into the box. That was the first big moment he had in terms of the crowd were like, yeah. But I looked at that like, fucking, what's he doing there? What's he doing there? And then the Salah quote came to mind that you gave me the heads up on. And it's just, and even when the free kick we scored in the second half, this is off topic, but I'm just talking about crowd reactions now. When Odegaard and Rice were over the ball, as soon as Odegaard left, the crowd were like, yes. I don't know if you lot noticed it. As soon as
Rice, I did.
But the crowd were like, fucking get away from that. But
that's why I think
when you start losing the fans like that I'm telling you, it's not good. It's not good.
The trouble with Arteta at this moment in time is it's not a bad thing. It's not but it's not a good thing either. Is that when we lose the ball, there's an emphasis to get back into shape, and it's too deep. If you ever look at it, it's too deep. You know what I mean? I watched them lose the ball yesterday, and they've still got their forwards higher up, not like where they're not like Salah where they've got not to work, but they get back to a certain degree and that's it as far as go. When I played football, there was a time like when a centre forward, I know football's changed now, don't come over the halfway line, right? That you never come with. What you're doing coming over the halfway line, that you don't do that. And I think with Arsenal, he's like, as soon as they get the ball, and I said, Saka, get right back to him. He's 5 yards away from Timber. Same on the other side, like same as Martin Ødegaard has to go 5 yards in close. Then when he got the ball, And I think it's like when the team presses. Where was all? I looked up front on 3 or 4 occasions. We ain't got no one on the halfway line. You know what I mean? Trossard was coming into I don't know what sort of role he was coming to, sort of like inside left, inside right, and dropping in to shape as well. And I look at it and I go, you've got, you know, in Gabriel and Saliba, 2 of the best central defenders in there. And Kivya's doing very well. Trust them a little bit more and say, do you know what? We're good enough to defend 10 yards further up. And that will then mean that Saka's got 10 years. But it's too deep. It's hard to break down, and it works and all that. But what you're saying, James, is it's a lot of emphasis on work. And I don't care what anybody says. You work harder with the ball than you do without.
100%. And you know what? And I just want to stress this too, okay? If Declan Rice scores 2 great free kicks in Paris and we've got a lead, trust me, I'll be so grateful for the coaching that Arteta's done and the work rate that Arteta and that Saka and Martinelli put in, because they will be fighting tooth and nail and they'll know exactly what to do. The reason we won at the Bernabeu is because of the defensive structure that Mikel Arteta's coached. I believe to this day is one of the best in the world. My point is picking and choosing when you need to turn to that, and picking and choosing, you know, how to drag that out your team. A lot of people go Atletico Madrid, Diego Simeone, or they're really defensive, but I've watched them play very, very good football and let go of that side of it a little bit sometimes. You've got to find that balance. I feel that with Arsenal, whether it was 22-23, where we were a bit too on the front foot, and now we're a bit too, off the ball first, safety, that the balance isn't always quite there. I think Arteta's trying to get it right, but I think a lot of it comes with actually just saying we don't need to do all this today. So I love that we have players that will die for the badge on that pitch and will give everything. And I'll never criticize them for doing it. I just don't know if it's always the best way of getting the most out of this team. Always.
Just to bring it back to the game, and we should probably move on to our game coming up. But it was just. It was just disappointing because we've worked so hard we've had a really good Champions League campaign, and to kind of look, we're not out. I think we can go to Paris and win. I think for all the criticism that Arsenal will be getting this morning about, I mentioned the last pod, when it gets really techie, they haven't really got it. When they haven't really got the heart to cross the line. The same things can be said about Paris. We've seen Paris collapse in recent years. I know it was under the superstar Galactico era, but it's still part of the club's history. They can collapse. This tie is not over. It just felt disappointing last night because we've worked so hard to get there and to serve that up and not even get a draw. I mean, a draw wouldn't have been a great result, but to kind of go there now with a 1-goal deficit and have to do something pretty crazy just puts so much pressure on our season, on our manager, on everybody. And it just I was watching just thinking, this is so disappointing. I just
think you have opportunity, you've got to take them, innit?
Yeah.
When you have opportunities in football, you've got to take them. There's no divine right. Like people earlier in the season I thought we have a divine right to win the league. I've always said no team has a divine right to win the league. You work to win that league, right? But when you have opportunities like 22, 23, 200 days on top, seize it. When you have an opportunity this year, Champions League semi-final, Real are out, Man City are out, seize it. I'm sorry, he has failed to seize every opportunity that he has created for this team. It has to fucking come.
The biggest worry for me is, and it's great, we're all saying we can go and win in Paris and everything like that. We've been here before. Newcastle in the League Cup, 2-0. We all went up there thinking, we can turn this around. And what did we do? We put in absolute no. But what happened was we put in another absolute poor performance, and in a big game, didn't turn up in Newcastle. So when people say, "Oh yeah, we're all right, we're going to turn up in Paris," I'm not so sure.
Lee, Villarreal second leg, wasn't that 0-0? And I think that was at Emirates.
Yeah, we got through. We got through.
No, Villarreal beat us. That's the second leg. Bayern Munich semi-final, second leg. I mean, not quarter-final, second leg. We can still do it. Okay. Every time we have I
agree. Like, there's too much. That worries me about it. I think in football, right? And you can make as many excuses as you want. There's a reason being at home, everybody likes to be at home. There's a reason. That's your advantage. And we our advantage was yesterday, that we had to perform yesterday at home. So, you had to perform, and we didn't. And that is the biggest. Biggest
you're right, Lee. Sorry, you're right, Lee. I mean, if we go out of this competition because we win 2-1 at home, but we lose 3-1 away, that can happen. But Lee, you're right. The home leg, you got to handle business at home. It's not good. This is the home leg. You lose the home leg. The whole
Lee, I think the most. Yeah, I mean that tifo is
Turkish is showing the tifo.
Embarrassing.
I mean,
it was embarrassing. It really was. I got to say, I saw it, and then half of it's falling off, and oh no! I mean, there was no light show. There was no. They didn't put the kind of even the plastic bags on all the seats. For people to. I've got to say, it was really embarrassing, and I felt for the crowd a little bit. That's why I take issue. Turkish. You made a point there. I don't know if you actually realize you're kind of proving something we were saying at the beginning of the pod, that the crowd cheered Saka winning the ball back. The crowd did what they could. And, I've just scrolled through Twitter, and again, more people sort of criticizing the crowd. I've got a real issue with that. And the tifo didn't help. But Lee, you've made one. You've made more than one, but you've made a really consistent point for a good year now. And I heard it on your fan cam too. Just the one. But
he said what?
but I think it's really spot on about our home form. And Man United at home, Newcastle first leg lost at home, the Bayern Munich tie was at home 2-2. Now this one at home, Aston Villa, we lost the title at home. Where was the other big drop points really before that? That was at home against West Ham. Where did our title race end? Where did I say Mr. Positive, glass half full? West Ham at home this season. That was the day I said that's done. How many times our season going to collapse at the Emirates? I don't think we can blame the fans. There is something about our management of that game. Those games aren't.
Wasn't Southampton
right?
Southampton was Emirates as well, right?
Oh, the 3-3. Yeah, because I know a lot of people say we bottled Leeds at Anfield and West Ham, but there was a somewhat grip on the title race a little bit at that point. It was Southampton at home that really sort of fucked us, and then it was 3-0 at home to Brighton the day that we went, well, that's all that. Yeah, it's at the Emirates so often is where things are going wrong, and it's really strange because I think Arteta has turned the feeling in that stadium around and the kind of the energy. I mean, I think people go believing and supporting and really giving it all. I almost think we need more excitement on that pitch.
They're cheeky. Make all the tickets £60 and let's see everyone go, dance, sing, rave, create the atmosphere you want. But when you charge the fucking prices you're charging, on top of that, you allow bots to pick up all the tickets and resell it left, right, and center. Yeah, when you allow that as a club, don't fucking talk shit. Because I gave my season ticket up years ago. Years ago now. 3 years ago now, I gave up my season ticket. On Real Madrid, Bernabeu, and PSG at home, I've spent equivalent to my season ticket that year, or those years. Equivalent. That's without taking into account the cost of travel to Bernabeu, driving and whatnot. Just those 2 games, it was the equivalent to my season ticket. Over £1,000. So with all due respect, if I'm paying that money or anyone's paying that money, or you're giving it to ballot members who have either never been, never experienced it, or, it's just do you know how many couples I saw in the stadium? Now, I'm not saying couples shouldn't go, but for this end, that wasn't a couple's game. That wasn't a game to be walking hand in hand with your partner. This ain't Mary
Sorry,
Poppins,
babe, got to cancel on Saturday.
Semi-final. Was you with your missus as well? Oh, you ain't even got a missus, man.
I got talking. Man said,
and then he goes, "You haven't got a missus."
Man said, "Babes, not this one, not this one."
Can I know this is serious, but this is serious to me.
Sorry, Turkish. I got to laugh. I get the point.
I get what you're saying.
That made me laugh.
This is a serious issue, right? This is a serious issue, right? This is very, very serious. Very serious for me and for that, right? You're asking fans, right, to spend a lot of money, like There's season tickets that are a lot more than £1,000, £3,000, £4,000, £5,000, £6,000 for a season, right? Now, fans are scrimping and saving to get to games, right? All of a sudden, one game can pay for your season ticket for the next season. It's very, very difficult for some people to turn that down. Like, very, very difficult when you're scrimping and saving, you've got kids and whatever. Someone comes to you and says, look, I'll give you £1,000 for that ticket today. Like, you know what I mean? And people are prepared to pay as much as that for that game, like foreign fans and whatever. Yep. The position that fans are being put in financially is putting a lot of pressure on a lot of fans, right? So that opportunity comes up. I'm not saying it's right, but it's a difficult time. And the reason it is because the prices are too much. It's too much, you know. And I'll be really honest with you. You go a game against Bournemouth or Brentford in a couple of weeks ago, and on there, you cannot give away your ticket. If you can't go, you cannot give it away, right? So
get punished, don't you, Lee, if you don't go to a certain amount of
games. And you get punished if you don't go to those games, right? So all of a sudden, when you've got a game which you're not allowed to do now, you're not even allowed to give it to your mate or whatever, like, you know, you have to go through certain channels to do it. I get all of that. But when there's an opportunity, when someone comes up to you and says, I'll give you £1,000 to buy your, I do believe, because of the financial burden being put on everybody, this is why this is happening. And whether you like it or whether you don't, there's a demand for it. If someone, you know what I mean, like, and it's been going on for years, you know, Oasis are going on a concert in a minute, like, you know what I mean? They go for thousands of £1,000 more than what they should do. Why? Because people will want to pay it. If someone's prepared to pay £1,000 for a ticket, you know what I mean, then you know, people are going to sell, and that's exactly what's happening. And as I think that it is a problem. It is a problem, yes, like, you know what I mean? It's financially to go to football now.
Yeah,
is a tough call to do it week in, week out.
Can I actually, look, in all seriousness, can I actually apologise there? Because I think Turkish should make an important point. And to be honest, I saw the funny side in the couple's comments. But what you were saying, Turkish, and what the point Lee's making there is important. It's not just tickets; it's merch. If you got a family, 3 kids, how much is it going to cost you to get them all the kit they want? Can't get one for one kid.
£400
probably. I won the bloody Predictor League last year, and I like to think I've given you all the grace of not wasting your money on 3 kits I don't really love yet. You know, I didn't want to. It's cost so much money. I didn't want to. You know, it's like, well, but I don't really want this shirt. Like, it's, you know, it's everything. It's the cost of travel these days. Don't look at how much it costs to travel around the UK, right? To those trains, like traveling back from Liverpool, I got the train back. Oh my word. You know, it is so expensive to support your team. It's not an entertainment. You go to the cinema, you can read reviews, you've got an idea if it's going to be a good film. You go there, you literally support, and it's very difficult for fans. And I completely agree. There needs to be something in football. I saw Man City fans getting a lot of criticism for not filling out their end at Wembley. But why is it always in London? Why is that game, a semi-final, not even the final? Why is the semi-final always in London? It's made so difficult for City fans. Who, in fairness to them,
northern teams as well. Well, a Midlands and a northern team. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a joke. Like, they don't care. Why have all these other competitions been brought in? Money. But the product is shit. I'm not enjoying watching football as much as I used to. I'm really not. I spend my weekends, unless Arsenal are playing, just trying to, like, enjoy the sun and be with my friends. I don't enjoy the product as much. Money has driven the game in such a horrible direction. And listen, part of it, the Premier League's a part of the problem, right? Look at the players we bring in and what that's done to other leagues. That's another thing we've got to talk about. Why do we not dip in to watch as many of other leagues? And to be fair, things like Serie A have been on the up. And, you know, I know La Liga's had a good title race this year and whatever. I get all that. Leverkusen last season, there's moments. But generally, there's a lot of eyes on the Premier League because of the money and the managers we bring in, the players we bring in. But then that product has just withered away too, I feel, this season. I'm not taking anything away from Liverpool. We've been amazing. I just don't enjoy football as much. And yeah,
there's so many things wrong with football, James.
So many.
Things. And you've hit the nail on the head with just a couple. You can go on and on about it. I like a Saturday game, like a nothing game for Arsenal on Saturday at 5:30 in the evening. You know what people have got. Like I'm in a position where I've got to go to a family party that day. Like I've got to miss the first hour of it and all that. Like and run around, do different things, go to different stations to get to the thing. Like when realistically it shouldn't be at 5:30. The greatest point you've made, right, is when I started following football, Arsenal got to semi-final against Man United, right? Villa Park, Birmingham, halfway for Man United, halfway for Arsenal. Like, you know what I mean? Perfect. And if it's two teams in Liverpool, Everton are playing Liverpool, you're playing in Manchester. If it's Manchester United versus, you just do it that way there. Yeah. What it is they're not thinking one iota about the fans. VAR yesterday, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's offside. You can see it within 10 seconds. Why are we as fans spending thousands and thousands of pounds having to wait for four minutes, because it's about 3 minutes before that happened, right? Waiting around, nobody knowing what happens. And then at the end of the game, the referee goes, there will be an added 5 minutes on this game. We're getting cheated out of games of minutes of football when they go, oh, we're going to make it quicker and we're doing this and do that. And they're wasting all this time on VAR. VAR is a big, big no for me in football, like, you know. And as you say, you've got a semi-final at Wembley where there's loads of seats not being taken, like, you know. When I went going to semi-finals and that, I know it's changed and all that. You have to queue around Highbury to the box office and queue up for your ticket and all that, like, you know what I mean, to get it, like, you know. Now people are not bothered about going because you're right, James. You know what I mean, the travel and all that, like, you know. So all of a sudden, someone says to you, you've got a game against Liverpool. And don't get me wrong, it's not just Arsenal. They were selling tickets for that Liverpool versus Spurs game for over £1,000. Mm-hmm. People were paying £1,000 to get into that game on Sunday. Right?
Lee, West Ham at home. Remember years ago, 15k someone paid because they thought we're going to win the league. Remember that the 22-23, that last home game of the season.
Wolves.
People were paying 15k for that.
Yeah,
it was worth 10-15 quid by the time it came.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. So you've got to understand when you're. Yeah, I know fans, and I know whether you think it's right or wrong, right, that have not would have sold their tickets for that game yesterday to go out to the away leg or go to Real Madrid. I know a couple of my mates sold their tickets not for face value, sold them so they had a bit more money to go to Real Madrid because Real Madrid tickets come up and things like that. Fans are having to forsake something to go somewhere else. You know what I mean? That's not right, guys. It's not right. It's not right.
2k I've been quoted for my PSG ticket, or £6 for the home end. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to be out there more than likely. It's going to be a nice day.
Turkish. Can I just talk about that quickly? Like, I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to get a ticket, like, you know what I mean? So I was trying to source one, like, you know, £6,000 for an away ticket I was offered, right? Yeah, I could get one for £6,000, right? Now, we all know, right, that you've got to go to the hotel personally with your passport and get that ticket, right? So for £6,000, right? Say if I've got one for £6,000, it's a business trip for me, isn't it? Go over to France, get the ticket. It's going to cost me £400 or £500, right? And sell it for $5,500. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. Whatever you do, there's always someone going to be able to not break the law, but the system or whatever. And, you know, someone's going to if that ticket's sold for $6,000, which, by the way, it probably will be, you know what I mean? That people are making so much money out of it, like, you know what I mean? And do I blame them? No. If someone wants to pay $6,000 for it, pay it. But
I do actually. I do blame them. I've got to say, I people who are sort of getting in there first to pick up a ticket for face value only to sell it for $6,000.
Well, it goes on, James.
I know it goes on. That's not. I mean, educate me, guys, if I'm wrong, but that feels wrong to me. Well,
it's essentially it's wrong, but the club allow it to happen. Like this happened with trainers as well. Like I used to buy hella trainers, Foot Locker, JD, Offspring, Size, wherever, right? Then the whole reselling market came in, and then what did Nike do, or what did Adidas do? They have a confirmed app or a sneakers app, and the drop is coming on this day, so make sure you sign up. Essentially, Arsenal doing the same shit.
I was going to say Turkish.
They play on it.
I watched the Overlap fan debate about 2-3 weeks ago, and there was a Liverpool fan on there that made that exact point. He said that the clubs now have become
Overlap, by the way.
It was one episode with the fan. They have the fans on, and he made a really good point, Liverpool, about how the clubs now are now almost acting as the black marketers. That they're the ones now that are finding little pots to sell their tickets at massive prices. So they're undercutting the undercutters. They're acting worse now than
Ticket Exchange does that, Jordan. Ticket Exchange does that. You're not allowed, you know, they turn around and say to you, right, you lose your points and all that, like, you know, if you don't do it and whatever. So you have to go through Ticket Exchange, right? Well, if you put it on Ticket Exchange, it's dearer than what it is, normal price.
But do they work with the club, Ticket Exchange?
Yeah, you got, but it's just to do with Arsenal. So like so what you do is like if you put your ticket on Ticket Exchange, you don't lose none of your credibilities and all that, like, you know, and whatever.
Yeah.
But also then they say it's 50 quid your ticket, Arsenal sell it for 75. So it does that, you know what I mean? Like, you know, and listen, it's the fans are being shafted in every single way, whether it's a 12:30 kickoff. How many times I watched? There was one day I come in the other day. I think there was 2 games on at 3 o'clock on a Saturday. That ain't right. That ain't right. That ain't right.
You got more chance of watching that 3 o'clock kickoff if it's 3 a.m. in Australia. Like that, you got more access to it. You know, 11 out or 2 a.m. in Australia, whatever it fucking is, 4 a.m. You know, 11 hours ahead, you got more chance of watching that game.
Can I just sorry, before you wrap, Turkish, can I just make a really echo a point that Sharoy made he made it last night during the watch along. He was talking about how much the club ramped up pre-match or in the build-up. Kind of we spoke about the whole bring your boots, fans, kind of the videos, all the stuff going into it. And he made the point that he thought actually that backfired because the club was so focused on getting everybody amped up for this big occasion that we couldn't and didn't handle it right. And I echo the point just to say that can't happen for the second leg. Second leg, I don't want to see any big videos from Arsenal about the comeback.
Shut your mouths and
the comeback starts here, or you know, pain in Paris. I don't want to see any of that stuff. No fancy images, no videos, no former legends doing videos about come on Arsenal, you can do it. Road to me. I don't want to see any of that. None of that. Just handle your business on the pitch. That's all I care about. I don't want to see any. There's some times where I think the club do need to kind of get behind a momentum. You know, Liverpool winning the league last week. They knew it was coming. So it's good that the club kind of say, right, fans, we need you to turn up, flares. We're going to beat Tottenham. We're going to party. I think it's appropriate sometimes. Not next week. Not next week.
Next week, definitely not. I saw that from Sharoy, and I wasn't. It's a big up, Sharoy. And I never ever disagree with anything he has to say. I wouldn't say I disagree. I just didn't know whether I agreed because I think he's right to say that maybe Arsenal need to act a little bit more like they belong. I think that's part of it. But then I also think part of it is, yeah, but we haven't been there. Like, however we want to dress it up, we do not have European pedigree. This is our third. Was it our third Champions League semi-final ever or something? And we're not used to that stage. And as a club, we wanted to make something of it. I think it's just a shame that we did everything media-wise. Arteta said all these things, and then this video goes out, and then they didn't do actually the business in the stadium. I think the fans kind of responded to all the messages and everything, and then you get in there, and you know you've got
your manager ain't got a clue. Your captain's not captaining. Like, so
yeah,
shut the hell up.
Hanging off.
Yeah,
you know, it's like
shut the hell up, man.
For the away leg, for sure. I think the best thing they can do is just quietly go about their business. It's something we and this is not after the fact for anyone in the comments saying, "Oh, you're saying this now." We praised after the Bernabeu. We said, "Look how Madrid just kept talking and talking and talking, and we just kept really quiet and showed up and did what we had to do."
Yeah.
I'm surprised we didn't really learn from that for this, but at the same time, I kind of get it because, like we said, the 60,000 are going to fill in that stadium. We knew the PSG fans were going to be loud. I think we kind of had to drive something. But hopefully in Paris, we just stick to task. And I mean both on and off the pitch. And I think we have a chance if we do.
Last
I
point.
don't think there's nothing wrong in doing what we done yesterday, like pumping the crowd up. Let's get that right.
That's what I'm saying. I agree with you.
I'm not too sure with the quote of bring your boots and shin pads. Did anybody really bring their boots and shin pads? Come on, like it's just a bit of a tongue in cheek.
Yardman had boots around his neck.
Yeah,
that's quite funny.
And then listen, at the end of the day, if you, I'm sure if you had your boots in, like they wouldn't let you have it. Let them bring them in. Like I'm serious. But I get what I get. We get what we're saying. It's a bit of a tongue in cheek thing. But I think now you're dead right now. Let's batten down the hatches. Let's just keep our powder dry and go and see what happens. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I also see a lot of people saying Arsenal, they thought they was going to win this game. I did think we was going to win yesterday. Like, it doesn't mean to say I think we was going to win the tie or whatever. Like, I felt that it was always a 50-50 game. But I felt that for us to win it, we needed to win at home. And why shouldn't we, by the way, pump our chests out and think that we should win at home? I don't think there's no disgrace on that. Like, you know what I mean? We should, every time we go to the Emirates, don't matter whether it's Manchester City, whether it's Man United, whether it's Spurs, whether it's Real Madrid, we should be thinking that we're going to win that game, and rightly so. Don't be ashamed of that. Like, when it's away from home, it's a different kettle of fish, and if you're going to go over two legs, different thing. But for me now, like, it's done and dusted. We've messed up yesterday. And
it's not over. It's not over.
No. Listen, I'm angry yesterday after the game. I'm furious because I've been let down and all that, like the emotions of the game and everything like that. But when I look back on it, we're still in it. We've still got a chance. Do I think that we'll win it? I'll be surprised if we do. But we've got a chance.
We have to get our mind right. We're angry. We have to stop sulking, pick up our lip, prepare the team, parties back in, get the team prepared correctly, have the right mindset. We can still be in Munich. We could still get to Munich. This is not done. It's not looking good, and there's a lot of work to do, but it's not done. We have to just, I said earlier on, the only blessing from last night is it's only 1-0, because this could be a very, very different podcast had PSG handled business. We could be out.
I think the blessing is that they played really well, and I think we could have scored a few. Like, that's kind of something that came out for me.
James, you're right. I still think so. The frustration is a missed opportunity.
I know. I didn't think. I know there was something about them where I was like, "Wow, I'm so impressed." Yet we can run through them if we want. It is so weird to think we lost the midfield battle because we were technically played off the park. Yet I still think physically we showed we got something on him. So yeah, I think this is going to be a fascinating second leg, and we'll get to it next week, I suppose.
Before, I just want one more point because it wasn't mentioned and it has to be mentioned. Hurry up these fucking free kicks, corners, and throw-ins.
Oh,
we waste our own fucking time more than PSG did. And then when PSG are taking 45 seconds, we are booing them. Our own players are taking a minute and a half to take. What are they doing? What are they actually throw-ins, corners, free kicks? Nowadays, people are cheering it. I'm like, oh, fuck, here goes a minute and a half. Here goes another minute and a half. Hurry up, lads. You got 90 minutes left. Don't be wasting 30 of those minutes talking about a corner that can only be swung into the fucking box, yeah? Stop all that bullshit. And I met someone yesterday on the way out, £800 he spent. It was his birthday. Happy birthday. I met a couple more people from America, Minnesota and New York. Big up you for the travel. And the one that paid me the most, I met someone that flew over from Sydney because he saw my vlog in Madrid. That's why he flew over. I apologize again to you. Don't fly over for the home games. Fly for the away games, because that's where you get that atmosphere. I'm sorry about that. Hopefully you still enjoy your time here, however much you have. But big up everyone that did try and play their part and travelled and did what they needed to do, because that was embarrassing. I'm vexed having spent what I spent, let alone spending what you spent, because I know how much you spent, and also spending 15, 17, 18 hours on a flight.
Yeah, I met someone who flew in from California, and it was his first ever game at the Emirates, I think.
Maybe they didn't bring their boots. Maybe they didn't bring their boots, and that's why we didn't win. If you're flying in for next week's game, bring your boots, people. Bring your socks. Bring the shin pads. Bring laces, extra laces. Bring studs. Bring the thing to take off the studs, old school. If you're old school, you'll know. Yeah, bring all of that. Yeah,
but bring
a referee whistle. Bring it off your whistle.
Can I just say as well? Sorry, last point.
Who are we playing on the weekend?
So before we get to that weekend, the booking for Saka, I thought Saka was actually a disgrace for kicking the ball away as he did. He's frustrated, but I've never seen a call so wrong from someone so close. I can't recall in years. How the linesman called that a foul on Bukayo Saka was absolutely incredible. It was actually what's the word? Beyond incompetence. It was such a bad call. It was actually a really good tackle. It was a really good tackle from Saka. I don't think he should get the ball away. He's got to learn to keep his head. I know he's frustrated, but I'm just being fair, because if that was the flirter, or if that was Odegaard, if that was somebody else, I'd be bashing them. So Saka can't get a pass. He can't get the ball away in that scenario. But the call was shocking.
I thought the refereeing was quite shit, but guys, I watched it without any benefit of replays. I was just in the ground, so you can easily get swept up by everything. But I felt that there was such a lack of letting the game go. It was so stop-start. I don't think the referee managed it fairly, but not even maybe just for us, maybe for PSG too, in a way that kind of kept a flow. I was really, really disappointed. He seemed to give absolutely everything. And then he was so unbelievably like, listen, we know that players can take the piss with yardage and throw-ins, but he was like, no, it's there. And I'm like, Mike, just get on with the game, man. So yeah, I agree with you. We take fucking forever on set pieces. Don't get me wrong. And that's an instruction from Nicholas Yova, believe it or not. But I thought the refereeing was poor as well. And because it's an hour and 46 minutes in, no one can say they were making excuses about that, because we talked about everything fucking else before. But I also didn't think that was great.
And I never bash referees. You know, I never bash referees, but I thought that was a bad call.
It was.
What's that? Sorry, Lee.
Saka was in on goal there, and I can say, like, I'm not blaming the ref for that. It was the linesman that give that.
It was. That's what I'm saying. He was 2 yards away.
It wasn't the referee. So the referee got no choice then but to give it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm going to give him a pass on that. You know what I mean? Like, it's a silly. But
I'm sorry, just for the sake of balance, Lee. For the sake of balance, I'll say this. I think that could have been a penalty on Kvaratskhelia.
Yes, he made a mirror, made too much of it. Made too much of it.
Yeah.
Timbers
he had his arm around him.
But then his body checked him in. I think that could have been a penalty. So for all the rivals, and you're crying, balance. I think the referees had a shock. I think that could easily have been a penalty as well.
It's a foul, yeah.
All right, I've had to remind myself we've got Bournemouth on the weekend.
Right, moving on. Come on, predictions and
at the Emirates, nothing to say.
Rotate. So someone said they wanted a front three of Waneri, Sterling, and Anne Hathaway, and I couldn't agree more. That's your front three. Okay, what's your midfield? Because I promise you, I don't care. Well, I say I care, but if we don't, I say I don't care. But if we don't, if City leapfrog us, I'll be pissed as well. Yeah. And maybe we need to get some momentum in the leg.
That's the problem now. PSG have won their league, I think, and they can rest all their players. And I think they've got their game, their schedules changed.
What do we need? One more win, don't we?
Don't worry, Lee, man. Forget all that, man.
No, to keep in the top four. I know it sounds silly, but we need one win to guarantee it, don't we? Is that right?
Yeah.
Because I think like Forest and Chelsea or someone's got to play each other or something like that.
Guys, it's a touch embarrassing that Chelsea are only 7 points behind us.
Of course it is, man. The Champions League has masked everything. Listen, let him mask it. If we let it mask it, I prefer it to be masked with a win.
15 points behind Liverpool. 15 points.
So what we
want Liverpool to win on Sunday. That's a joke, isn't it? Like,
guys, it's not even. I keep talking about City. It's Newcastle are 5 behind us. Oh God! Listen,
it don't matter if you come second or fourth, does it? At least if we come third, at least I won't be singing second again everywhere we bloody go. You know what I mean? So
actually, we finished 5th. So jokes on you lot. Newcastle go to Brighton, they'll win that. And Man City at home to Wolves, they'll win that. Guys, I don't want to fall out of second place, if I'm honest.
No,
I
nor do
don't.
I.
It's just, the optics are
Nor do
just so shit. They're shitter
Yeah.
than they even are anyway.
Can't
Yeah,
see us
he's like
winning
a
Saturday, though, boys.
Oh, God. What? What's
I
that?
can't see us winning Saturday.
Let's do predictions, man, because I can't.
Is it away?
No,
It's at
home.
Home.
No change on the prediction table for the audio listeners. James, prediction for Bournemouth at the Emirates.
2-1 to Arsenal, because I actually think he'll go strong. And I actually think he's going to try and get the team going. So, yeah, 2-1 Arsenal.
Jordan.
I think we'll win the game 3-0, but for the sake of trying to catch James, I've got to be tactical here. So I'm going to go for a 1-1.
That's more likely than your 3-0.
2-0.
What did you say, James? 2-1?
Yeah, because I'm an idiot.
2-1, 1-1, 2-0. I'm going 7-6 Arsenal.
Yeah, that was going to be my next one.
Come on, Turkish, play the game.
I'm going 7-6 Arsenal. I'm just tired. Fuck my predictions. Who gives a fuck? I predict 2-1 loss against Real. We win. I predict 4-1 against PSG.
I care about your prediction.
Fuck my predictions. Fuck my predictions.
I care about your predictions.
7-6. 7-6.
Cool. Yeah, no, fair enough.
Socials, did you get that? 7-6.
It could happen.
It could. I doubt it, though.
Well, we'll see. We'll be here on Sunday to talk about
Socials,
it.
did you get that?
7-6.
Can we agree? If it finishes 7-6, Turkish has got another 5 stars. Yeah, win the league.
20 points.
5 more stars.
The whole league.
You don't want to hear my prediction against PSG, but I'll save that for Sunday. So yeah, 7-6 Bournemouth. I mean, Arsenal beat Bournemouth. All right, cool. Comments of the day. I'll be honest, I don't have one.
No, I don't have one off.
I don't either.
I've got one. What? All right, fine. I'll show up. I'll even show up with 2 because I was actually reading through them, having a good laugh. I've got a wholesome one. I've got a funny one. Let's start with the funny one. You know this whole 100 men versus 1 gorilla thing?
Yeah.
Someone's asked who would win 100 Jameses versus 1 Lee. Who would win?
I'll see that. I didn't understand it because of the gorilla.
Well, I'm asking who would win.
100 Jameses.
100 Jameses.
I don't know. I don't know.
Right, 100 win the dogs versus 1 Turkish.
I'm ripping
Win the dog.
I'm ripping every single one apart.
Sure, I think Turkish might do it, you know.
No. Once one of them got hold of his nuts, that'd be the end of it.
Yeah, I'm going with the dog.
Well, I can't have a cup one, no? Oh, okay.
And then 100 highlight reels versus 1 Jordan.
Highlight reels all day.
Yeah, they're winning. There's no question.
It's a wrap. I'm done.
That was from Untimely Mediation. So thank you for that. And there was a really wholesome one. I just thought I'd read it because you get a lot of heat, Jordan, from the TTL. Have you heard this one?
I've not seen any of the comments. Go on.
No, okay. I'm smiling. This is actually really sweet because you do get a lot of shit. He says, on a different note, I wanted to big up Jordan for being in the Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn press conference over the weekend. It was great to see Fourever Arsenal represented, but more importantly, it shows just how hard he's worked to build his journalistic integrity to appear on the biggest of stages. He truly doesn't get the credit he deserves.
What's his name?
The TTL.
The TTL. Thank you very much for your kind
Oh,
words.
sorry. There's a part 2. He says, that said, his questions were terrible. Never changed, Jordan.
I did have a comment, so I will say it like so. It says whenever Lee tries to challenge someone's point, he always ends up agreeing anyway. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Last episode, Lee was grouchy, disagreeing, and then in the end, it was that I agree, but
Yeah.
You're
I don't know why. I was a little bit. I do apologise. I was a little bit feisty, like in the last part. I don't know why.
It makes the pod, but it makes the pod what it is.
I just got up.
We needed something.
I got the wrong bit at the time or whatever. I just wasn't happy. I don't know why.
Only one person has never not been happy on this pod, and that's Jordan. I've never seen him grouchy or in it. Yeah. Like me, James, and Lee.
And he gets slagged off the most.
I know.
Yeah. You think he'd be the one being like, right, here we go.
My real point about it was
abused again.
Injuries, you can't. It just happened. You can't guarantee. You cannot guarantee someone not getting injured. That was my point. But I do take everybody else's point of view, and I am very sorry that I was a little bit spicy that day. I have to say that. I've looked back at it, and I was.
I thought we were mates.
Don't worry about it. In fairness, you were full of shit that day, but it was, you know, it made for the pod.
That day.
I'm joking. I like that day.
I'll tell you what, Robbie